Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the next episode of Vinyl Stallions!
What up, everyone? It's Clep. Welcome to this episode of Vinyl Stallions, a podcast about all things music. Find us on social at Vinyl Stallions. This episode is a sit-down with the three-piece band Juniper. These fellas are from Boston, Massachusetts, kind of in the indie rock space. I feel like that's a bit of a generalization. We were lucky enough to get all three members of the band on. We got Scott, we got Ale, and we got David. Also want to give a shout out to Dr. Sturpka, Austin Sturpka, for putting us in contact with them. You'll hear on the episode they refer to him almost as a fourth member of Juniper. They boys also dropped an interesting piece of news on this episode, so make sure you listen to the whole thing. Hope you enjoy.
So today we have the Juniper boys on, and again we are very excited to have you all on. How we living today?
Living and breathing, man. Doing our thing. It's a Thursday, you know. It's a good day. It's a good day of the week. It's maybe the best day of the week.
Yeah, almost the weekend, so we're vibing.
I hope the sun is shining where you're at as well, because here in Cleveland, Ohio, it doesn't happen too often. But man, when it happens, you're just like, all right, let's fucking go.
Yeah, we got 50 degrees right now in Boston, so I'll be outside on the porch for a couple hours tonight, I think. So it's a good day.
Hell yeah. I love it. So again, we have
Toledo.
Scott. Oh shit, Clep. What'd you say?
Oh, sorry. Yeah, there will be a little delay because we're all on Zoom. But no, I was just saying I'm at 50 degrees on the dot too.
Nice.
A Toledo life. Hell yeah. But all right, so again, we have Scott, Alejandro, and David chilling with us today on Vinyl Stallions. We are absolutely stoked to have these guys on. I was explaining to them a little bit before. It's always fun with these things to just be exposed to people's music before we have them on and before we even get in contact with them. And that is exactly what happened here today. And holy shit, I'm excited to dive into just this creation that you guys have built up in kind of such like a short period of time, if you think about it as well. So again, So break it down for our listeners right now. Where did the idea to start this band come from?
So it was about 6 years ago, actually more like maybe 7 years ago now. We were about to be in college, and I hadn't met Ale or David yet. And band started. We released an EP. Stuff we recorded over the summer going into that year of college, first year of college, and released as an EP. And then things kind of dissipated. People went to college in different places, and some people wanted to make different kinds of music. Some people didn't really want to make music at all, and just so it kind of became like a collective. But then I met Ale first day of college, actually, but we were friends for like 5 months before we ever even picked up a drum set and like anything plugged in together. Like we were like, I would show him songs I was writing, but we were just like homies and chilling and being college 18-year-olds, you know, just mess that is, but also just exhilarating, you know. But then we finally jammed together, and I was like, wow, this is a moment where like you just kind of look at each other and you're like, holy shit, that was so sick. But we have to do this all the time, immediately, like right now. And that just kind of carried us over through that summer. And we met David after COVID, because since then, like over college, we released EPs and we did a debut album our senior year of college back in 2021 called Distance Keeps Me Distant, which was kind of a culmination of like a chapter and like of a identity of like who we are and who we were. And then right around that time we were meeting David too. And then David just came into the fold, started playing shows with us first. And I mean, well, the rest is on Wikipedia, you know?
No, it's been awesome. Like the last like year or so, like getting to know David through playing with him first, I thought was just such a cool way to get introduced to someone, like just playing shows together, really getting tight as a group. But like the last year and a half, like we've really gotten to know each other on such a personal level. And we're just excited to see where this band's going right now, because like we truly feel like we've found an identity that like really just fits each of us and fits all of us together, and we're just like really happy to be all together. Like this is like the group that we have right now, and like it's just like how it's supposed to be, you know.
How would you describe that identity? Like, you know, Spruce and I have listened to the music. We have, I guess, like our own kind of like, you know, thoughts on like what your musical identity is, but how would you all describe it?
You first. No, I'm kidding. That's a great question. I think something we've been really harping on a lot recently. Well, harping maybe has like a negative connotation. Something we've just been kind of thinking about a lot has been the idea of like we've been searching for this sound, and I think we've been in the constant state of searching for so long when it comes to production and songwriting, like digging deeper and like I don't know, just figuring out stuff that you hadn't even thought of before, and like having that impact the sound and get more like deep into your identity with that. Like I think we've been able to have this identity of like we're searching, so we want to like in terms of what our sound is like, I would say recently like alternative, and I think that comes a lot from like production. But I mean, David, you're bringing in guitar tones that sound like elephant trunks, but also like Bee Gees. So like when it comes to sound, I mean, David's our expert on.
Yeah. I mean, for sound, I guess like I'm pulling from a bunch of different places. For me personally, like just for guitar sounds, I listen to McGee all the time. I listen to like obviously that Dijon, which is like essentially McGee, but like also I listen to a lot of Madison Cunningham too. Like her stuff, grab a lot of guitar tones from there too. I'm just trying to steal from everything, you know? And like older stuff too. I'm listening back to like the Eagles too, trying to grab some sounds from them because like it's classic, you know. But like also with all, I mean, there's so much to pull from out there. That's really awesome.
I think also when it comes to like the identity of the band, like, and I think like we were talking before the call, like Austin, like being one of our good friends now, that he's been able to really capture this identity of us, and I think like the point of like us three just being so cohesive as friends, I think is just so important to like what comes out of the studio, what comes out of like the sounds that we're creating. And like that's like the vibe is just like so perfect right now, I think, with us three, where it's like we love to chill, we love to go to the beach, we love to be outside and, you know, smoke a cigarette, have a beer, like smoke some weed. Like we love doing all these activities together. And I think that formulates like how we're able to, obviously it doesn't like correlate with like how the sounds come out after, but just like the vibe that we create and how we act around each other is like how we've been able to really create the music that I think that we're the most proud of ever. I think the last 6 months or so. So it's a really cool way to just see it as like, yo, we're three really, really good friends who love to hang out, vibe out, and but we also love to make music together, and this is what comes out of it. So it's a cool identity to kind of circle around.
Right on. And okay, so we will like circle back specifically to the music and like what you have coming up. But really quick, I just kind of want to go around the horn and just like, you know, give everyone just like a brief, you know, background on like what got you into music, like how you got into the instrument, you know, that you play and all that good stuff.
Scott, you want to go first?
Yeah, I feel like most of my life I grew up just singing, and that'd be like in the car, singing along with Beatles songs and picking out harmonies like with the cassette tape, you know, like that type of like that's how far back that goes, which is crazy to say that's far back, but it's true. But I think, you know, I sang in high school choirs, and I started playing guitar when I was in second grade, but I didn't take lessons for too long. And so a lot of my guitar playing, I feel like, has come as an extension of almost my songwriting. But in terms of like getting into music, it was really my parents. They just had such a great taste in music and have such a great taste in music, and exposed me to so much diversity too, in terms of sound, like stuff from the 40s versus the 90s versus like deep cut Stevie Wonder to like Beatles hits and like everything in between. And I think that is kind of, I feel like, reflecting the music we make, just in terms of like we're making all different kinds of songs. And I think like same with Ale and David, like they'll say too, but like just the music we listened to growing up, I feel like came from everywhere.
Mhm. Yeah, I totally agree with a similar statement. For me, I'm originally from Venezuela, so my whole family's from there. And my dad was a drummer in a band over there before I was born and stuff. But my mom has like funny stories of her being like pregnant with me, and she could like feel me like kicking in her stomach because the drums and the concerts just going nuts and stuff. So I think I got my genes obviously playing the drums from my dad, but just similar to Scott, like my parents having such a good taste in music. I grew up just ravaging through my dad's CDs, like that was like my thing when I was little, was like getting the Led Zeppelin CD, getting the System of a Down CD, just
Slip.
all different, yeah, Slipknot, like all this type of music, like literally growing up was just like so huge for me to really get so many different influences. And then I started playing the drums as a young kid. I did jazz growing up, so I played in jazz ensembles at the New England Conservatory, and I think that was my first exposure of like really playing with some groups. But I think I always had interest in being in a band, but I never like put in, like the effort to really find people, just because like in high school, you're like focused on school, sports, like all this different stuff. But it's so cool that I was able to meet Scott, in college, and have someone who was like-minded and wanting to create something really cool. And like the group was already there, but like being able to come in and, do something that was so new to me, and like being able to build it to where it is now. It's just been a journey, and like starting all the way back from just being a little kid, going through CDs, like now we're here, Dave-O.
I gotta remember the question. You guys went for so long, but no. So yeah, I mean, I got into music a little bit later on. I mean, I was like sophomore in high school. I didn't start playing until then, and then I found music. I found some players that I really liked. Started kind of going home after school every day, really diving into stuff, learning and transcribing all kinds of things. And then I took a couple years off after high school, and then I went to Berklee College of Music, and I studied all kinds of stuff there.
All kinds of mysterious things.
All kinds of things. Yeah. But did that, and I guess now I'm kind of doing stuff, you know what I'm saying? So yeah.
Best guitar player in the fucking world. That's the shit you're doing, dude.
Yeah.
That's right.
Sorry.
David, what was that Berkeley experience like? You always hear about people going there. Did you graduate from there? Did you
So I only went for 1 year. I had a bit of a wild experience there. I was there for about a month, and my dorm actually had caught on fire
Wow.
on Halloween when I was getting ready to go to a party. And so we were displaced for like a week, and then I lived in a hotel for a couple months after that, which was pretty sweet. I'm not gonna lie, but it was kind of unconventional, the first semester of college. And then I went back for another semester in the spring, and went back to my dorm and kind of had an experience, because it was just weird, like coming from my first semester being like that. But then I didn't end up going back. I decided that I wanted to just play and gig and do as much as I could with music that didn't involve being in a classroom. So yeah, it was fun though.
How did you meet Ollie and Scott?
So I met Ale and Scott through a mutual friend. They were looking for a guitarist to do some gigs, and I happened to be free and really dug the music. So I figured, hey, I'll give it a shot. And as Scott said, the rest is all on Wikipedia.
I love it. No, yeah, you guys like Ali, you hit it on the head with just how big it is. Earlier you were preaching about it, like just being friends and just being able to hang out and not even like touch the guitar or touch anything. And that is such a huge part of just a collective. And then from there, like you said, it does translate over to music. It really does. Like,
Absolutely.
so yeah, that's so important. And then I guess one more question for David that I had. You said you were taking different tones and stuff from all those different artists you mentioned. Do you like actually like go and like research like what exactly they're using and their whole setup is and try to emulate that in your music, or is it more so find something by ear?
That's a really good question, because I use any and all resources I can. So like when I first started, I was definitely like on the forums, like reading everything I could. And then eventually I kind of developed an ear for like what people were using. And nowadays I feel like if I listen to something, I can pick it out 99% of the time. But I would say that 1% of the time, I'll go check out like a rig rundown every now and then
Yeah.
for some people that really have me stumped. Like I would say Mike Gordon, like from McGee, he really had me stumped on some stuff. So I had to watch his, and there's a guy named Tom Bukovac too, who's like this amazing national session player that I've been really checking his rig rundown out lately, stealing some stuff from him.
David, didn't I send you the rig rundown for McGee?
Yeah, man, you changed my whole shit from that. It was like, he's got this one pedal, dude, that I can't figure out what it is because it's like a reverb with like a distortion on it, and if you like push the little expression pedal, it like swells. Man,
Yeah.
I need that pedal so badly, but it's like
Here we go.
that sound. There's nobody else who's really doing that thing, you know. So like, it's just like an endless rabbit hole of like finding new sounds, and I love that. You know, it's just about making the guitar and making your instrument, whether that be guitar or not, you know, making it make sounds that are different and unique to you. So that's where I'm at.
And y'all do a great job with that. With like the guitars and everything, but I hear a lot of synth in your music as well, filling that empty space, which is like, that's my shit. Like, that's like what I'm trying to go for on my stuff. Like all just like filling that empty space and just moving emotion with that. Who's laying down the synths on your guys' tracks?
It comes from, like, right, David? Like, would you say so, dude? Like,
What'd you say?
I feel like the synths and just like atmosphere is something that is like, that's like, who plays that? It's like the band plays that, you know, it's like whoever's in the room plays like that. Like we got individual, like, I mean,
specifically, like, I know on Listen to the Moment, like our buddy Jackson Trapp laid the synths down on that.
Yeah.
And our producer Julian, he's like a mastermind with the synths. But like also the synths are coming from like just what we're listening to, you know. Lots of Tame Impala, lots of McGee, that type of stuff, you know.
I need to get into McGee more, man. I've heard of them, but have not taken the dive. I just listened to Tame Impala's second album yesterday though, and was just like, holy shit, this is so
Yeah.
is that
Dude,
loner?
I found currents. I
Yep.
lost like hours and hours of my life just getting stoned and listening to that.
Yeah, dude, it was lonerism, and yeah, I knew Elephant off that, but everything else, I was just like going on my walk. Just,
Yeah, that bass.
Yeah, so good,
So sick.
that shit's nice. All right, so in 2023, you boys put out a track back in February called "Used to This," and that was a fucking ripper, boys. Like how long were you sitting on that?
dude. Honestly, kind of a long time. Like we were that the first conception of that song was October of 2021.
Okay.
Okay.
Like 14 months, 15 months, which is on the longer side for us. But like you mentioned before, like those synth sounds, like we love as a band collaborating with other people too. You know, like at the end of the day, like the band is the band and like that's the nucleus, but like having like other people come in and like bring inspiration and like help that grow. Like Dave mentioned Jackson or like Julian or like Philip Etherington, who did our album, who mixed it, used to it. But we made the most of that music. That song specifically was like the Nashville baby. We spent a month in Nashville in the fall of 2022, working on a bunch of new music, Used to This being one of those songs. But I think that sound really came from just the origin of being in the same room in Nashville, especially. Like that was such a formative experience for us.
Yeah, that is the heart of music right now. Like in all music, like not just country, obviously anymore. Like, yeah, shit. What was it like being in Nashville? Was it just surrounded by so many talented people?
Such cool sounds, man. Nashville has the coolest sounds coming out of it right now. Like the producer scene down there is gnarly. I mean, we met a ton of cool cats too. Like shout out Logan Gladden, you know, like shout out Josh Hefner, you know. But like, I mean, you got Ale, David, you guys can attest. Like that place, there's a magic in the air, man. Like music, good music is there. It lives there. It comes out of there.
Well, that's the thing about Nashville. It's so interesting because everything that you hear from like the touristy side or like just like the mainstream stuff, it's like everything you hear is just like, oh, it's a country town. It's all these different country artists on Broadway. Like that's it. Like that's all you hear about. But it's like in reality, I think Scott hit it on point where like there are just so many good producers down there that many people might not even know their names, but like not only musicians, but people who can really, really make some dope tracks. And it's so interesting. Our friend Julian, that who produces a lot of our music right now. Um, I mean, it's just such an amazing environment to be in when we go record at his house because he has his own little plot of land. It's really kind of like a farm area that you kind of get to. So you go through the woods to, really, really get to his house and stuff. So like the inspiration of the drive alone to getting to this place, like really formulates how this like the music really comes out, I guess, and now like what we're talking about Nashville, it's just such an unbelievable place because not like you only think about country and stuff, but there are so many good indie bands living down there right now, and it's just such a cool scene that's going to continue to grow. So it's really interesting.
Yeah, I actually have a buddy who is coincidentally a producer in Nashville, and sort of like you said, like he does all sorts of genre. In fact, I don't actually know that he's done any country. He's like mainly just like pop, and I mean he gets his hands in everything. Like he's done Christian rock
Yeah,
albums, R&B, like rap, just anything. But I've never actually heard him talk about country.
I love that. There you go.
Do you guys have plans? Are we sniffing any new music coming here soon in the spring, summer of 23?
Scott, you want to answer that one? You're on mute, bro.
My bad.
We're getting iced.
My bad. The short answer is yes. We were in Nashville for a month. There is so much music that comes out of making music for a month. Like it was. So yes, short answer, we do have new music coming sooner than you'd think. Definitely the month of April.
Ooh,
Wow.
shit.
Very, very soon.
Okay. I like to hear that. I guess, can I ask if we're talking just like singles or full album or EP, or if you don't want to answer, you don't have to.
Like I may just be pulling an audible and just cut me off if I shouldn't do it. But like, I mean, hey man, what the heck? You guys are great, and this is like a cool podcast. We love it. Like, what better place to reveal news, right? Like, whatever, like this is a deeper channel here. Like,
Let's go.
Hell yeah.
like, this is it.
Stallions for all, baby.
So it's great that the next single, we're really excited, it comes out on 4/20, which is just
Amazing timing.
It's a festive time of year, so like it's going to be really good to coordinate that. But yeah, so that next song is called Paint Me. And then we are going to be having, these are two of a whole part of an EP that we'll be coming out with in July.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, so next single is April 20th. The EP will be coming out over the summer with more songs. We'll leave it there. Ale, am I in trouble or what?
You're good, buddy. That's exactly. I think it was good to break the news right now, so we're chilling.
Not that it's not that it's this massive news that is going to have headlines on the Today Show, but like
You never know.
You never know.
No, but we're really stoked for this next one. I think just like the whole process that we had in Nashville in October, I think just like I think Scott said it before, but just like really set us up to like be where we are, not only for like where the music was, but like just the whole experience of being together for a whole month in a different city like that. Just like it reflects into the music that we're doing right now, obviously. So like we're just like so stoked to like have had that whole month to get all these tracks down, and then the last 6 months we've really just been focused on building them up to be where they're at now. So we're just super stoked to see where it's going to go.
And on top of that, like we're really focused on like, okay, that is the number one thing that we like that is our not product in way of like capitalism. I'm not saying like that is the band makes music. We like those are our babies. Like that, like, those are ideas that got pulled out of thin air are now going to be streamed, like that's the most important thing. And I think the most important thing for making sure people hear that music is getting out and playing it. So that's another thing we've been really focused on too, is getting on the road, getting on stage. We had a super fun show back in January of 2022. It was on January, I think it was 7th. It's about a month.
23.
Yeah, of 2023. Sorry, this past year, like 3 months ago. But that was great at Mercury Lounge in downtown New York City on Manhattan, the East Village.
Damn.
And it was just like a Saturday night, and we played there, I think 3 times. This was the 4th time, sold out on pre-sale. Like, it was just fairy tale evening, and that was just real fun to have that kick off the year, and I think set the tone for us to like know that the show that we put on is something that we want to show to everyone. Like we love doing like that. We were a band, that is where we thrive. Like, so that's a big focus for us too.
Yeah, that's incredible. I mean, anytime you're playing a sold out show, like, whether it's a huge venue or mid-size or smaller, like, that's such a compliment that, everyone wants to go see your music, that there are no more tickets available.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and in a different state too. Like, we're just like some dudes that grew up in Boston. I'm like, wait, what the heck is going on right now? Like, people are putting their Saturday night in our hands. Like, that is beautiful. Like, dude, oh my God, that's nuts. Blew me away. But
That's awesome, man.
y'all are in Chicago. Are y'all in Chicago?
Oh, sorry, one more time. No, I'm in Cleveland, and Club's up in the Toledo area, which is
In
like
Toledo, right?
Yeah, so I'm honestly not too far away from you in Grand Rapids. It's like 2.5-hour drive.
Grand Rapids.
I love that city. I used to date a girl that lived there.
Ooh, spicy.
So, well, I only say that because I've spent a decent amount of time in the city.
Yeah.
Oh, we could play the name. Then. That's fun. Yeah. Well, I mean, we're looking to get out to the Midwest in like sometime in like early summer. Like, we're looking at playing in Chicago, Cleveland. We're looking at Grand Rapids or somewhere in Michigan, maybe Ann Arbor, or trail it down maybe towards Nashville and just kind of hit a couple. Yeah, I mean, we're looking at Midwest though.
Check out the Blind Pig in Ann Arbor. That venue is really cool, and I mean it's like decent size, but it's like the setup for it is perfect because there's like a giant, good size stage, but there's like a giant area for people to congregate and dance, and the bar is like towards the back. So like the logistics of this bar are incredible. Like, you don't have the bar getting in the way of the music, basically. But yeah, are you guys familiar with Wolfpack at all?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so they played this place a ton because they're from U of M. It's right by U of M campus.
Wow.
Actually, I had heard that. That is so cool. So that must have been, I don't even know when, but that definitely is a highlight of the music scene out there for sure.
Mm-hmm. Just check it out. Blind Pig.
Yeah.
Blind Pig. I have read
That's a great venue.
If you guys play it, I'll be there.
Let's go.
Let that be the deciding factor.
I love it.
Yeah, no, we just had that Stallions breaking news here on this episode of Vinyl Stallions with that new music, so I'm not going to reveal anymore, but let's just say some birdies of past Stallions guests have told me that they're trying to link up with you boys, and that's all I'm going to say right now, ladies and gentlemen. But let's just say I am fucking pumped and definitely want to see you guys play live because I don't know, your music gets me hyped. Like, I literally find myself just like working out all the time and like running and like, yeah, I keep going back to that Distance Keep Me Distant album in 21 was like just so well put together, guys. Like, where was that recorded at?
Oh, dude, that means so much, man. Seriously, that's we made that when first of those songs were written. We were 19, and the other ones we were 21. But yeah, that was pretty much made recorded all over COVID. We did that remote recording, so we had linked up with a good buddy of mine, Philip Etherington, who at the time was a Berkeley student, and we were working on a song called JBJ with him in the spring of 2020. This is like right after Please Stop Calling, and like he is just, I mean, just his way that he elevates sound is just like more. He is vast. Like his knowledge and ability is just incredible, and I think, and it shows. I mean, he's working on songs. I mean, he mixed and produced "Ceilings" by Liz McAlpine. Like he's,
Nice.
you know, he's crushing it, and so is she. We love Lizzie; she's great. But I definitely think doing that remotely really put a lot of onus on us. And like we were recording drums up at Ale's house and like engineering the whole thing ourselves and like reading how to do it with like mic placement, like getting all these stems and being like, that was a great take. Oh shit, we ran out of disk space. Like, oh, like just crazy. Talk about DIY, right?
Yeah.
Like, so, but it gave you like, I don't know, that it made it like you bought so into these songs. And so we made that over the course of pretty much like the second half of 2020 through like January of 2021.
And we made it a goal of ours to like, we wanted to have a full debut album out like by the time we graduated from school, you know, because me and Scott, we were both at different schools. He was at Boston University, and then I was at Loyola, Maryland, where we both met originally. Like Scott used to go to Loyola, Maryland.
Got some smart
but
cookies.
but we worked, you know, like we were both like COVID was kind of a blessing because I mean they sent us home. So we were like, all right, like it's our goal to like let's get this album done by the time we graduate. And it was just like kind of a send off for us, and couldn't be more proud of how it came out. You know, it was such an experience, and it kind of set us up to really, really just know like there's a lot more exciting stuff coming out after this. You know, it was like such a good starting point for a new life, you know, after being young in school and all this. It's like it's only gets us excited to keep this thing going, you know.
And that's what that whole album was about. Like we wrote that about the fact of like what does it mean to grow up? Like COVID starts when you're 20 and now I'm 23. And it's like, what does it mean to grow up in COVID? You know, like turn 21 in COVID, like finish off your college classes fully remote and like just crazy shit like that. And how does that affect relationships you have with people, with yourself, with like society, with your family, with, you know, and I think that was what those songs were inspired by. And on top of that too, how, you know, you have friends and you see people, but then you're forced to be apart. And at first you're like, oh my God, like this is horrible. But then you kind of get comfortable in it and you're like, this isn't that bad. Actually, I kind of did this alone time. And then when like people hit you up, you're like, I don't know if I want to hang out. And is that bad? And just like kind of that headspace was kind of what that title track was about. And that kind of just proliferated and expanded and kind of like as a spider web, I feel like, and kind of had an effect on what each of the other songs were about that kind of tied it together.
Mm-hmm.
I have a question for you guys as like songwriters, and one I find myself and other people. Do you ever, or I assume you guys utilize your voice memos whenever an idea comes up? I feel like all artists have that. I feel like that's like literally one of the key things now that just goes so underlooked as like a common artist, just being able to, instead of being like, oh shit, I have a 25-minute drive home, I have to keep singing this until I get home and can do it somehow. But do you find yourself when you're like thinking of new music, like going back through old ones and like other ideas, or is it specific like, okay, we're gonna think of something brand new as a unit right now?
Scott is the king of texting the group chat of like, guys, go through the old voice memos. Just
there's
go
good
through
shit out there. There is good shit.
There really is. There's always something lurking that was from like 2018 that you're like, oh shit, like what the how did this come out? Yeah, literally.
Dude, I always say, LA, reduce, reuse, recycle. It is a beautiful thing when things that were meant for one thing turn into another thing or joined with another thing and make it, you know, like it's cool when that happens musically. Lyrically, never. Lyrically, like that is because like if you got something to say, you gotta say it, you know, like it's I haven't seen I'm not able to myself. I mean, like be able to write a song lyrically over months, you know. I like once I sit down with it lyrically, I need to like kind of finish that within like a general span of time, or else I feel like the song's going to feel fragmented because my brain will be fragmented potentially because it's coming from two different headspaces. I don't know.
It's
never
all about
dabbled.
the moment. It's all about the moment.
Yeah, that
They
totally
recommend.
makes sense.
Listen to the moment.
There you go.
Here he goes. Stream Juniper.
Check them out. Juniper, Spotify, Juniper the band on all social media.
Never heard of him.
Yeah,
Can't
so
relate.
okay.
Can't relate.
I guess so. This leads me to think. So you're saying 2021, that's the debut album, and that so you released that when you guys were seniors, like age 22.
Mhm.
So
Yeah. 22.
that EP from 2017, that's like, is that like when you guys like basically first met?
So it's like, so Scott said this before, but this band was in existence before I was even in it. So it's
And
like
David too,
and
right?
David too. So Scott's like the original guy which I think is what's really cool about Juniper that I think is really interesting is that while there's been different, different people who've come through the band and everything, Scott being the main songwriter of the group has really kind of created that foundation of like all these songs that have been written. A lot of them have come from Scott, obviously. So it's like that identity from the beginning has really stuck through it. And then I think just being able to bring in me, being able to bring in David now, it's like that identity is just like constantly, maybe it's a little different, but like the songwriting's always there. And like, I think that's what's been the cool journey of it, that like, even though there's been different periods, like the songwriting, the identity of like what the music is about and everything, like all of that has always been there from the beginning, which is pretty interesting. So.
And at the end of the day, man, we're still a band. And that's like, cheers to bands, man. So hard, so much harder than this may be a hot take today. So much harder than being a singer-songwriter, like balancing it all, balancing people, balancing expectations, like, and it's tough too. The industry's catered towards singer-songwriters right now. Like it's the age of the singer-songwriter. Like it's awesome. Great. There's great music coming from that. But like, I don't know, name a band that's playing arenas that's under 25 where you can name every member of the band. I can't. Unless they're BTS. And hell yeah, BTS. They're great. But I don't know. Like I think that's kind of it's exciting. Like it feels like it's rock and roll. I don't know. From the dirtiest basements to an 800-person room, like
being in a van eating tacos, like it's all part of the story. You know what I mean?
No, and you guys, like it's awesome. Like seriously, I appreciate you guys coming on so much because it's like really amazing to be a part of this. Like I like, even though we just freaking met, but I just am excited now to be a part of this experience and seeing you guys grow. And it's fun to introduce people to different bands and be like, I showed them that person. And like that shit. It's cause like, I don't know, it feels more relatable, personal. And
Absolutely.
no, I'm very excited as well to see you guys like come to Cleveland. There's great venues here. And
we're coming. We'll make it happen.
All right. Fuck yeah.
Well, and that's the thing about us too, is like, like now that we've got to meet y'all and stuff, like we will, like always be your biggest fan. Well, maybe not biggest fans. You two have mothers.
Club's
right?
already bailing on the bandwagon, dude.
Well, they got parents. Like that's probably their biggest fans. But what I mean is like, we'll be sharing all your music and stuff on social media. If we can go to a show, like of course we'll make it, and we'll do whatever we can to share your good music with the world.
It takes a fucking village, as everyone always says.
Yeah.
But before we let you gents go, we do an encore every time on Vinyl Stallions here, and we ask one simple question. What is your most memorable concert experience? And this can be you playing at it. This can be you attending. It can be very, very good memory or a memory like what the fuck just happened. And I'll let you both go individually.
Yeah. I need a minute here for a second.
Yeah, and you can do multiple if they come to mind. But yeah, feel free to dive in whenever you guys think of something.
Yeah. First one that comes to mind was the show back in January, like a couple months ago at Mercury Lounge, like selling out in downtown New York City as just like that was, and the energy on that night with like the crowd and that energy transfer. And that was the first time too that we had used tracks. because it was just Ale, David, and I on stage. Like before that, we had never used backing tracks for like atmospheric pad type stuff, things that we couldn't play live, right? That's where we had tracks. But we've always had another 1 to 2 people on stage with us on top of the 3. But this time we did. So it was kind of an adventure, and we didn't really get a rehearsal with the guy that was doing the live sound for us. It was just sound check. And we were like, holy shit.
Yeah, what?
Yeah. Like the adrenaline was through the roof, right? And then obviously hearing it sounds like you're like, holy shit. And then you're like, holy shit. Like we gotta perform right now, right? But just run that too. Once also having listened to the moment out and like this kind of new wave of sound and this new thing we've been searching for kind of start to show itself, right? Like that show felt incredibly exhilarating. Like, man, like when the crowd's louder than your instruments, like that was yeah, it's crazy. That was a lot of fun.
Yeah, that's honestly obviously such a, you know, big moment for us of like how we felt. And like and the cool thing is like we've played like different, you know, bigger venues, especially in Boston, where like we've like felt these experiences of like, yo, like it's crazy starting out from like a basement to like actually feeling like seeing so many people in front of you and being able to like play your own music. But you know, one of my favorite like playing live situation, I think, was last summer. We always do this gig in the Cape every single year. So every single year we always play this gig on the Cape in Mass. And it's like, you know, Scott's like family, friends, and like a bunch of different people. But you know, it was just us 3. We pull up to this house and we're playing on the porch. And, you know, we're doing like a bunch of like Grateful Dead covers, like a lot of just fun jams. And this is like still early on with like us like being with David, you know, us 3, you know, like this being the foundation. And you know, even though I think it was what, 20 people, Scott, total in the backyard, maybe something small like that. Like it was just like so tight the way we were playing. And it was just it was so fun. It was hilarious. Like we just had such a good time as like good friends and just like becoming a band. And it was just so awesome to like just see all these like 50-year-olds and 60-year-olds just like jamming out, just like everybody just like, yo, I am here to vibe out and not do anything else. And then, you know, that's a small, we've done big stages and everything, but that moment right there of just feeling so tight and literally just like having a blast, just playing music. And it's like, and it's important because it was like us 3 by ourselves, like just doing this. Cause like Scott said, we've had other people play with us, have 5 people on stage at times, but this was like us 3, no rehearsal, let's just play. And it just felt so right. And I think it was like, honestly, an instrumental moment for us to like, you know, enjoy that New York show, like really get inspired to like really start selling out rooms in the Midwest when we get out there. You know, it's like all intertwined of like, even though it was a small gig with 20 people, like it still inspired us to have a great time, and it showed us like, yo, we love to fucking do this. You know what I mean? So it's cool.
Gotta love a good house show.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Like 90 people packed in a basement, like talk about memorable too. Like that is the underground, you know, that is
Literally.
like that
is underground.
But yeah, man, Ollie, I agree with you. That show was great. That was such a spiritual moment, honestly.
We still listen to the voice memo all the time.
Every time I take a flight.
That's awesome. Yeah, voice memos on flights. That's the key right there.
It is. You don't need Wi-Fi. You can just put them on.
Yeah, that's subreddit. That's yeah.
I love it. Well, hey, Scott, Ali, I know David had to jump off earlier, but we appreciate you guys so much for coming on and chatting with us. Like, you guys were our fucking homies. I feel like we met in a past life. Like, I feel like we've already talked for years on years, but nonetheless, thank you guys very much. We appreciate it.
Yeah, we'll stay in touch.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you so much for having us, guys. It felt really fun to just talk to you guys, and it was just we hope to see you guys soon in person at some point. So
yeah, man, I'm telling you, Midwest in June, get your eyes open, because I think it comes sooner than we think. But yeah, appreciate y'all so much. It was so good to connect. Like, shout out to Sturm for making that happen. You know,
yes, shout out.
You know, life's beautiful. You know, now we got 2 more friends. Like, this is great. So we appreciate you, and like, yeah, let's be in touch, man. Like, we love doing this. We'll come hang sometime soon again.
Absolutely.
Oh,
No,
yeah.
we'll for sure make it happen. And everyone out there, again, check them out. Juniper, Juniper the band on all social media. And again, the hot new release on Vinyl Stallions. They have a new single coming out on 4/20 coming here in April. So definitely check them out. But besides that, my name is Spruce.
I'm Clap.
And this has been another episode of Vinyl Stallions.